Stress and memory. It's a cool topic. Okay, it really is cool. So colleagues of mine who study stress physiology and memory, stress hormones are not just bad for memory, okay? Part of what's happening with these hormonal production of hormones is helping you lay down memories for salient events, okay? So if something dangerous happened at this particular place and it had characteristics around it like such, when you encounter it again, it'd be a good idea to avoid it, right? So that's what's happening, is a little bit of stress is helping you lay down those memories, lay them down strongly, and then it's making sure that newer information doesn't get in there to break those memories up. You may or may not know that every time you think about a memory, you change it. And so that's why you and your spouse argue about what happened a year ago. You're both right, okay? But you've both changed your memory somewhat. So if you don't want to forget something, never think about it again, okay? But what stress does is it helps you lay it down, and then it helps prevent new information from getting in so that you keep it consolidated until it's solid, okay? Or more solid. What way much stress does is it damages the hippocampus and makes it hard to function and put down any memory. So most of science is like Goldilocks. You know, too little, not enough, just enough, too much, right? It's not linear. It's usually some kind of curvilinear thing. So, and physiology does good things on one level, and then another level it can create problems. So, yeah.
Can you say something about what the effects of toxic stress are on the physical health of the child?
Sure can, because that's what I'm really interested in. So one of the things we've been talking about brain development, but the whole body is influenced by the activity of these stress systems, overactive stress systems. And the hypotheses that are floating around out there, and there's evidence for them, is that early adversity and mediated by stress sets you up for plowing a lot of fat, the fat that you have around your tummy, which increases the production of C-reactive proteins, which are inflammatory factors, which influences the development of cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. So what we old folks know as metabolic disorder, and why we're taking statins and why we're taking all these things, which happens with age, is increased in its early occurrence by chronic early stress.
Would it be true of other autoimmune diseases?
Maybe. I mean, stress biology affects almost everything, but the direct line, yes, if you have an autoimmune disorder, you know that stress aggravates it, right? You also know that you're sometimes taking glucocorticoids, which are stress hormones, to regulate the inflammation that results from it. But you know you've got sort of a bollocks. I'm not saying you do. I'm talking to you because you asked the question, right? Stress aggravates it and can also help. The hormones can also help relieve it. But the more direct line that we've been after, and now actually this is even pre-write-up, we've been studying kids. We just got data today. We've been studying children, as I said, adopted from orphanages. Sometimes they come into the country, they're growth stunted, and then they rebound growth. Those kids really should be at risk for all these things. We've been studying them and find out that they, in their upper middle class homes at least, they're not obese. They're lean. But before I sent that out as great news, I got in touch with a guy over in the med school who does really fancy measurements of arterial walls, and we're looking at LDL and HDL, and we really dug into this. And the results we got today is, yeah, the kids are thin. The kids look good and healthy, except they're showing signs of stiffening as 13, 14, 15-year-olds of their arterial walls, and they're pre-hypertensive. So even, yeah, Not all of them, but it's a risk. And these were the ones that were stunted and then grew back to normal size. So yes, what happens early matters. Now, they're going to be fine. They're going to have to watch their diet, and they like to eat fats more than proteins, which is really the danger sign. So what they're going to have to learn to do is exercise more, make sure the doc checks their cholesterol, start the statins early, you know, and so on, and they've probably outlived me, right? But it matters. Yeah.
I had a question about the rat. So you mentioned you swapped the
Cross-fostering,
cross-fostered the results from maintenance. Is that saying that the raised by the grooming mothers stay with the lowest best response and then you switch over?
So
Is it the mother that matters?
it's the mother that matters, not your genes.
It doesn't matter which crop it is.
Right. It's the mother that's the experience, it's postnatal experience for those rats that matters. We don't cross-foster kids, so it makes it, we have to study them in genetically informed designs, but challenging. Yeah, over there.
Is that the same for, you said the daughters have the same response? Is that true for cross-fostering daughters?
Yeah, yeah. So what's happening, and remember, we're not rats. I mean, it's newsflash. That they are very stimulus-driven organisms. So, you know, you can make a mommy rat who, as pups that are just about to grow up and leave the nest, back into a brand new mommy pup by giving her little babies. And it goes, oh, I guess I'm doing that again, right? It's harder with monkeys. They begin to know their own baby. You can't trick them as easy, right? But they're very stimulus-driven. So these experiences are setting up changes in behavior. It doesn't take as much change in biology. We could have this same change in biology and still be very interested in kids because we have a bigger brain, right? So it matters not only natural inclinations, but also socialization and experience and so on and so forth. So I do not want you to walk out here saying, oh, if you had a bad mom, you're going to be a bad mom. We do know that there is intergenerational transmission, and it probably goes all the way from the genes up to your experience, but we also know you can change. We also know you can change. Yeah.
You finished with a couple of slides on public policy.
I did a little bit, yes.
Little.
Just a hinted it,
Yeah.
Frank.
So, you know, if you could wave a magic wand, if you were in charge, what would be 1, 2, or 3 kind of really transformational things that could happen in our community or in our state?
Well, if I could wave a really big wand, I would make sure that babies were born having never been exposed to alcohol or drugs, and having had good, healthy nutrition, and with moms who are not chronically stressed during pregnancy. So let's work on that, guys. And then let's work on helping reduce poverty, guys. Poverty matters, right? And we're trying to do all of this stuff on top of an unjust system where we have racial discrimination and other kinds of discrimination and people worrying about where their next meal is going to come from and where they're going to live. And then we're looking at them and going, hey, why don't you form a secure relationship with your child and make sure that they have enough stimulation? Oh, here, we'll give you a scholarship. No offense, Art Rolnick, the scholarships are good. And unfortunately, it feels like just putting a little finger in the dike, but the North Sea keeps rising. So I think we need to really pay attention to income inequality and really pay attention to discrimination, and then make sure that we've got adequate resources. My colleague Ann Maston, who studies resilience, says it's ordinary magic. What kids need to be resilient is the ordinary stuff that kids need to grow up healthy and happy. And we need to be paying attention to whether those indicators, and we have measures now that we're working on, that we've got those indicators ticked off. And we can't be, I'm sorry, you really pushed my button, Frank. We cannot be walking around with 1/3 or more of our children in St. Paul and equal in Minneapolis growing up in poverty and expect that we're going to see good things. So, here, bye-bye.